Okay, so today we are here for a very important message, how to stay safe online. And we have a sequence of very fantastic speakers. Well, the second two are fantastic. The first one's all right. We've got Mr. Stuart Torrance from Australian Men's Sheds Association. And he is the Shed Development Coordinator in the area of wellbeing and health. And he will be talking about You've Been Scammed, how to deal with the fallout of being scammed or hacked. Please welcome Stuart.
Rebecca, you do know when you throw out a challenge like that, it can come back and bite you. Good morning, everybody, and as Rebecca quite clearly pointed out, I'm Stuart Torrance, Men's Health and Wellbeing Coordinator for the Australian Men's Shed Association. Before we'd like to begin, I'd like to thank the Brunswick Junction Community Men's Shed for having the foresight of getting behind this initiative. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I'd also like to thank Kate for all her dedication of bringing this all together, and there's a lot of moving parts, and she has a finger on each and every pulse. And it's Kate that makes this happen here today. Promoting well-being is at the heart of what sheds are and do, whether they realise it or not. We come for the tools, the projects, the friendship, but we gain so much more from our community, as we will soon see. Wellbeing and health are my focus areas through the Spanner in the Works program, Shed Mates program, Wellbeing in the Shed, and suicide and awareness workshops that we spread the message that focuses on the strengths we gain within community. I had envisaged doing this talk at the end, all the professional speakers coming up at the beginning, and they're telling you all about the cybersecurity stuff and all the technology and da-da-da. Because what I'm speaking about is possibly something we think about after these events have happened. We're thinking about the well-being impacts on ourselves if we've been scammed. The impacts on people we know that have been scammed. It has a huge effect on our lives. So I was expecting to come, rightfully so, at the end and be challenged with trying to keep you all here when the car park's only over there. But I don't have to do that because I'm up front and I've got a captive audience and you're here to stay. So needless to say, each and every presentation is important and is specifically designed to help you navigate the subject of cybersecurity and safety. And what I'm here to talk about is the part of the safety side in all its facets. What I have to share won't keep you secure online. It won't stop you from being scammed. But we are hoping it will help you navigate the aftermath of being personally or closely related to someone that has been impacted by these insidious schemes. I'm talking about the safety part. Did you get that? I better press the button. Oh, here we go. We have a lot to cover today and a lot to take in. How to recognise scams, looking into the complex world of passwords. Passwords I can't remember. And don't you hate it when they ask you for an extra character or use uppercase and lowercase? I've only got 6 passwords and I can't remember any of them. I'm going to have to sit in and take notes on that particular section. Protecting yourself online is why it's so important to keep up with all the technology. I was thinking the other day how handy it would be to go back to carrier pigeons. You know, you send out a message, you've got time for a cuppa, you can sit down and relax and think of something else, rather than this hectic modern life of family members who seem to reply to your text before you've even pressed send. How did they know what I was going to talk about? We can laugh and we can make fun of technology, but the fact is, it can get out of hand really quick. It can take over. I recall shutting down my Facebook account, or what I now call Wastebook account, as I've come to know it, and the commentary and the feeds that came through were so negative. It was really having an impact on my overall well-being, and I just went, enough, gone. Technology is a two-edged sword. So I would like to take a look at looking after ourselves, and if I may, each other. I'm sure we're all familiar with corporate logos. You've got the golden arches and all the other bits. Here's FedEx. And you might say to yourself, yes, it's FedEx's logo. How terrific. There's nothing unusual about the FedEx logo until I tell you that there is an arrow embedded somewhere within the FedEx logo. Can you see it? Yeah? Has everyone seen the FedEx logo? Am I getting nods from around the room? We're still looking? Hang on. I've got my little magic button. There's the little arrow. And they're talking about moving things forward. It's a subliminal message. But now you see it, you can't miss it. Close your eyes for a second. Close your eyes. Open them and tell me what you see. I see an arrow. You can't help but miss it. I'm hoping this presentation will have the same effect. That when you're thinking about what's going on with you, when you see others, when you notice things, when you hear something that raises concern, you will take action to either help yourself or to help somebody else in that particular moment that you have been alerted to. The information we are sharing this morning is important and wide-ranging, as no one is immune to being scammed, tricked, or led down the garden path. The scammers are getting trickier and trickier. My own family has been attacked by scammers, my mother-in-law by a confidence trickster. My son was catfished, and I'll let others explain what that is a little later on. Here on the screen is an attempt that almost got me. I'm a Newcastle Permanent Bank member, and I receive regular emails from this bank giving me updates, making offers that they think might be of interest to their customers. So when I got this one, I quickly scanned it, I quickly looked, it has their logo, it has my name, and yes, my first name is John. And other than on my bank account, birth certificate, license and passport, that is the only place John appears. No one calls me John. I'm Stuart. So when I've got a piece of paper that actually says John on it, this must be from the bank. It looks legit. Being busy and important, as I like to tell people, it is so easy to quickly scan the email, think, I better knock this one over and get on with my work. One click and whoosh. Who knows what might have happened? I could have opened malware. My computer could have been taken over and held for ransom. More fool then if they did that one. I could have been in a whole load of trouble. The mind spins at the possibility of losing it all, or even a part. What could have happened to me could happen to anybody, can happen to any one of us. We are trusting, we have a trusting nature, and we live in a busy world. It is so easy to have these things quickly pass by and we fall into their trap. But as it happened, when I received this email, it wasn't long before this that I'd been talking to Kate about this particular session. So my alerts had gone up. I'd been alerted to computer scams, and it was only literally a week. And just like the arrow in the FedEx logo, I was aware and straight away curious as to why I would need to open a file and enter details that they already had. The potential impact goes far beyond financial loss. I'd like to emphasize the emotional, psychological, and social consequences these events can have on us. It's not just the loss of something tangible like money or possessions. We go deeper into the embarrassment, the shame, the self-critique for letting this happen. My mother-in-law beat herself up over a few days after it happened to her. She couldn't believe that she had been taken advantage of. She thought she was smarter than that. We did encourage her and remind her how strong she was when she saw the perpetrator off with a few choice words. "I didn't swear, but I used this," she'd say. And it was good to see the confidence come back on her face. It's not something we want to share, being scammed. It's not something we want to own up to, being tricked. Yet I know there are some wonderful, very strong people who have stepped out of their comfort zone and have done just that. They've told about their journey, their problem, their mistake, in the hope that it prevents others from falling into the same trap. So the purpose of this presentation to explore these challenges and provide resources, training, and self-care strategies that I hope you won't forget. Here is where I would like to point out that, that there are always information and resources and solutions that can help us through any situation. So whether it's personal, it's you that has been caught up in the scam, or someone you know, there is always help, and we need to find it. There are, as you will see, a lot of resources and organisations willing and able to help with programs, information, and events such as this. Going from informative and useful information about scams to reporting platforms and legal advice. My focus is on the health and well-being of both the person scammed and the people around them that may or may not be impacted. There, our mental health and well-being cannot be forgotten in the rush to address technology issues and security breaches. We need to see the person, not just the technology. Fixing the loopholes, the breaches in security, is just a few of the steps needed to keep us safe. That starts with us. Standing up for one another, our families, our friends, all looking out for each other. So when I say this is important, I can and clarify it with saying this can be life or death. When it comes to issues we are aware of the financial strain, but this can lead to more personal and emotional impact. Whoops, hang on, there we go. When it comes to these issues, we are aware of the financial strain, but this can lead to more personal and emotional impacts. Trouble can take us into dark places filled with negative thoughts. We need a light to focus on, a hope we can reach out for. We can find that in community, in your shed, in your community group, in your social network. And can I suggest that a face-to-face group has more strength, more meaning, and less ambiguity than any other type of social network? But if that is where you start there. Start with your community in regards to seeking help for your own well-being. Here is where I would like to point out there are always solutions, information and resources that can help us get through. So whether this is personal or for someone you know, take on board the information being shared here today. As they say on any aircraft, please put your own face mask on before helping others. What they are talking about is based on the psychological effects of hypoxia, a condition caused by a lack of oxygen. If you become hypoxic, you can lose your ability to reason and function effectively, potentially making it impossible to assist others. So looking out for your own well-being is a no-brainer, wouldn't you agree? Likewise, we should start with our own well-being and ensure we are getting enough of each and every element that can help sustain us. Research has identified numerous key areas where and if we focus on them, we can lead to greater overall well-being. In our Wellbeing in the Shed workshop, we concentrate on 6 key areas of body, mind, spirit, people, place and planet. I'm sure we could have added others, but these are the 6 main areas that seem to be the key program focuses on any wellbeing program out there. So we gathered these 6 and thought, that's enough for the sheds. We didn't think the sheds would really want to investigate or develop childbearing relaxation methods, so we left that one out. Makes sense. Sheds are and do appreciate the clear message of self-care and self-awareness. Excuse me. So obviously, body is speaking about what we put into our bodies and what we use, the resources. Of course, we can our intake starts with fresh is best, as well as taking on a balanced approach. And by balanced approach, I'm not talking about the number and weight of the sweets that I've just eaten equate to the weight and the amount of veggies I've just eaten, and one cancels out the other. They don't. Okay? So in that regard, I think it's good that we look out for ourselves, our bodily well-being, what we put in and what we put out. In regards to putting out, let's just say you go around the car park at your local shopping centre 2 or 3 times, trying to find that ideal parking spot as close to the front door as you possibly can. Anybody do that? Come on, own up. I do it. I've got a sticker on the window that says I'm allowed. All right? It's got the special marking on the ground. In that regard, wouldn't it be good to park 6 or 7 car parking spaces away from that spot that you would rather prefer? And those extra steps are going to stand you in God's good stead over time. Challenge yourself every time to park a little further. And I'll tell you, I'll guarantee there is a stack of empty parking spaces on the other side of the car park, far away from the door. And that exercise that you get walking into the supermarket will stand you in good stead. So that's body. Mind. Well, we don't have to be reminded. Use it or lose it. I work for Alzheimer's Australia, New South Wales. Connecting men in the early stages of dementia into the men's sheds. Men who were either in the early stages or male carers of somebody looking after somebody with dementia. What we found out is the sheds already had the men in them. And they were being looked after wonderfully. They were being challenged on a daily basis because they had to remember names, they had to remember activities, they had to remember all the things that were going on in the shed, until it came to the point where, yes, I've told this joke 16 times, and you will laugh, whether you like it or not. So, in regards to challenging your mind, if you love doing the crosswords, can I ask you to mix it up a little and say, do the cryptic crossword? Oh, I can't do that. They're difficult. That's the point. Because if you step it up a little, you're going to make new neural pathways. Challenge yourself in different areas. Take up a musical instrument. Learn another language. All of these things are going to keep our brains malleable and active and connected. Try this for a challenge. If you normally brush your teeth with your right hand, tomorrow morning, try using your left. You're going to have toothpaste in a few places that's not supposed to be, but it's a challenge and it really makes your brain think. I go back to the catch cry, use it or lose it. Spirit. Spirit is speaking about what you give out. You remember getting together with the grandkids and they pick up that present that you wrapped in that bright blue wrapping so you knew that they had your present? And they open it and you see their eyes lit up. Did you feel the joy in your heart? There was no expectation of a gift in return from your grandkids. You received joy and joy alone from opening that present. Spirit is about giving. Buying that coffee, extra coffee at the coffee shop, for someone you will never meet. So paying for 2 coffees and then walking out of the coffee shop, and all through the day you can say to yourself, I'd love to have seen the face on that person when they got a free coffee. How exciting would that be? And the gratitude that you feel lifts you up and warms you from the inside. This is the type of spirit we are talking about. These are the foundations of well-being, and the sheds tick all the boxes. I'm not sure sheds realise how much of their time in the shed does how much their time in the shed does for their well-being. Yet I can tell you that there isn't a shed that I've been to where someone doesn't come up to us saying, if it wasn't for the shed, I wouldn't be here. That's in every shed. There are 1,300 sheds across Australia. Every shed we go into, if it wasn't for the shed, I wouldn't be here. That says volumes about community. And actually, it takes me to place. Which brings me to people. Or community. And if I could speak about the power of community to heal, the power of community to inform, the power of community to strengthen, and I could go on all day. The sheds nail it. And let me say, so do so many other groups, whether it be the CWA or the Rotary clubs, the golf clubs, the bowling club, anywhere where people come together, support and encourage each other is community and is very important. Place is taking notice. Caveat, all right, fellas, this one has a trap attached. okay? If your partner says, "Have you noticed anything?" and you haven't, I ask you to plead the fifth. I know we're not in America, but it's my only advice as I've been stuck on this one myself. No, of course, we're not talking about that kind of notice. I'm speaking about taking time to smell the roses, taking your socks and shoes off and feeling the grass between your toes, looking at the timber on the lathe as you slowly remove the grain and reveal and expose the next wonderful array of grains. That chiseling out that burl and watching the knots and the gnarls reveal themselves when you splash some water on the timber. That's the kind of notice that we're talking about. It's the kind of notice that brings joy and is empowering. Planet. Well, I think we all agree we should look after it. I think that's a lay down misère. So maybe we should put aside our differences. Is it climate cooler or climate warmer? Who is the climate changing and who's responsible? I want you to put all that aside and pick up that piece of rubbish instead of walking past it and put it in the bin. It's a world, it's our kids' world, and we should look out for it. And I tell you what, if you look out for it and you do your little bit of picking up that rubbish, of cleaning up, of making your place look nice, it will stand you in good stead internally. These 6 steps of better well-being are well worth focusing on. Should you not feel on top of it? Should you get involved in a scam, give yourself a health check. Give yourself a score in each and every one of these areas. I've done this today for my body, tick. I've done enough for my mind, tick. What have I done for someone else? Oh, I better go and water the neighbour's plants while they're away, tick. I better go and go to the shed and laugh at Larry and help Tom, tick, community. Where you'll soon find where you need to make a few changes to change your mood. And if you're in trouble, if your hassles come from online and the scams and the tricksters are getting you down, going and having a laugh with Larry as he tells you how he'll go to that bloody call centre in India and tell them what for, just like he did when he was in the army. You've got to love Larry, and every shed has a Larry. Is a great time to put in a plug for Wellbeing in the Shed workshops. I'm more than happy to go to sheds and take you through the program. I just need an invite. Come and talk to me after and we can discuss how we can make that happen. Training up your wellbeing teams across sheds. Each state and territory has a shed assist or coordinators that can support the wellbeing team and discuss the different training programs and workshops that would help them in their role. We have Fiona and Beck here in WA. We have Tim in South Australia and Northern Territory. We have Mark in Victoria. Beth in New South Wales and ACT, Frank in Queensland, and let's not forget Wendy, all the way down there in Tasmania. All really good people with some really good and fantastic contacts and some fantastic resources we can all use. And I'm sure all the other resources and ideas and the help to build up wellbeing in the sheds is also available for those outside organisations. I'm sure they have people that cover well-being in their particular groups. The 2025 Suicide Prevention Conference was held just a couple of weeks back here in Perth. In Perth, Western Australia. Who would have a conference all the way over here? It's too far for everyone to come. It costs way too much money. And yet, what might surprise you is that almost 900 people attended this conference. That is huge. It's their biggest conference yet. Far bigger than when they held it in Melbourne, far bigger than when they held it in Brisbane, far bigger than when they held it in Sydney. Why? Because suicide awareness is really coming up in regards to, it's in everybody's face right at this present point in time. It's backed by the federal and state governments. It's no surprise cyber security, AI and data safety played a big part of the conference, not only in the breakout sessions, but also as one of the national keynote presentations given by Dr. Sanderson Ollie from the Black Dog Institute. Above are many of the wonderful organisations that provide suicide awareness training here in WA. And some of them even do it nationally. I'm sure there would be a list just as big in every state and territory in Australia. And for that help, please go and see your state and federal member. They should have a list of organisations and programs, both free and paid, that you can attend. And there is a lot to choose from. We are now talking about our own well-being as well as helping others. Our focus is on the FedEx type awareness strategy of taking notice. And once you've taken notice, you won't be able to forget. The things that should raise our antennas and make us take notice of what is affecting us as well as others. While we can apply the 6 areas of well-being framework to ourselves, others, it's a little hard to do. We usually find out others are in trouble far later than we see it in ourselves. Often it's a lot later, and we ourselves can have negative thoughts creep up on us, and we're going to take a look quickly into how we might help in those situations. The fact is, I can't give you a complete course in suicide awareness training in my two-hour presentation here today. I've just seen the panic on Kate's face. I'm joking, Kate. I know I'm only here for 30 minutes. I just thought I'd put that in. Calm down. It's all good. But each and every one of these organisations can and do a tremendous job of not only raising awareness, but also providing you with the accredited and evaluated courses and programs that help you, that help us look out for one another. What I'm about to share is the absolute minimum information you need to be aware of. And it does come from one of those accredited courses. It's the absolute minimum of information to be aware of that someone might need if someone needs to talk to somebody but doesn't know how to ask. The fact is, anyone on the edge will call out in their own way. It might be something they say. It might be something they do. It might be their actions. It might be their lack of action. We need to know what to look out for and have a simple method of approach and action to help keep everybody safe. Does that make sense? Is that something we should be doing for one another? Again, I can't stress enough that this is not training in suicide awareness, but general points that help us identify somebody that needs help. Please do yourself a favour and attend one of these more informative programs and empower yourself to look out for those you love, to help those in your community. Whoops, no. Hang on, go back. Be aware. Now, I remember to be aware with this acronym, SHALL. And often as Stuart shall work on his senses, what have I sensed? What have I sensed that has changed? Bob hasn't been to the... I always use the name Bob. I apologise if Bob is in the room, but every shed has a Bob. Bob hasn't been to the shed in a while, and when he does come, he gets what he needs. He doesn't speak to anyone, or if he does speak, he speaks as little as he can, and he gets out of there. That's not the Bob I know. I hear Bob say, it's all over, so it'll all be over soon. But I've got a funny feeling he's not talking about the footy season. He bit Larry's head off the other day when Larry was making a joke about an online scam. And I've learned that Bob has had a terrible upbringing when I asked him why he never attended his own father's funeral. Bob has a dark past. We've now learned a lot about Bob, haven't we? He hasn't been to the shed of late. He's biting people's heads off. He has a dark past. We now need to take that information, and it's time to share. My antenna has gone up. I don't think Bob is in a good way, and I need to ask. But that's a little personal, isn't it? I know what we'll do. We'll wait a little later. We'll wait to see what happens. We'll see what Bob does next. Hang on. Your antenna's gone up. You've sensed Bob's mood. You heard what he's saying. I see his actions and I know his troubled past. It's time to speak up. And Bob has spoken as loudly as he can. He has shared what he can. He's crying out for help in the only way he knows how. So we need to ask. We need to ask the most difficult question. You might say, hang on, that's a bit harsh. Couldn't we just say, are you okay? Now, don't get me wrong. Are you okay Day is a fantastic, phenomenal message. And in everyday check-ins, it's the thing that we should do. It's the words that we should use. But when the rubber hits the road and we see that Bob is having problems, we need to get a little closer to the grain. We need to come more to the point. And I'll show you why saying, are you okay, is probably not the better approach. Are you okay? Sure. End of conversation. Have I dug down? Have I really exposed what's going on in your life? Most of us would passe. I'd go home and visit my mum and I'd walk in and she'd say, how are you? I'd say, I'm good. And she says, you're not really, are you? And my mum would tease out what's been going on through my week. But that's somebody with a mother's knowledge. And we can't and don't always have that ability. If they try... Bob's now walking away because we've only asked, are you okay? Instead of the tough questions. Are you thinking of suicide? Are you thinking of killing yourself? They're big questions. They're up front. And there are three main possible answers. You might come up with others, but there are three main ones. No. They say it with vigor. Or they question, why would you ask such a thing? Here is the benefit of what we've noticed about Bob. The benefit of what we've noticed about Bob is when we've asked him that all-important question, are you thinking of killing yourself? Are you thinking of suicide? And he says, no, what are you talking about? Well, Bob, you haven't been to the shed of late. I've seen how you took Larry's head off when he told a joke, etc., etc. We can tell Bob why we have asked this confronting question. It gives us permission to ask this confronting question. Do you see the difference between are you okay? You might have just opened the floodgates when they say yes. They might pour out their hearts as the stress and the strain is freed, and they can open up and they can share everything that's been going on in their life. But just as lightly, their eyes might go off into the distance. Their eyes might go directly to the floor, and you just might get yes. Here's the third response that I know of: silence. What might silence indicate? When there is no reply and they're looking at the floor, they're looking elsewhere, anywhere else but in your eyes. Their eyes might be staring off into the distance. They might look at the ground. What might silence indicate? Regardless, until you are given a solid no or a solid yes, we must treat this as a yes. And what do we do now? There's a lot going on. There's a lot to take in. But you are not a psychologist. You are not a trained counsellor. You are not an expert in the field of suicide prevention. You're just like that guy that's turned up to that traffic accident in the middle of nowhere, where someone's gone too fast around a bend, hit a tree, and you're the first car that turns up. You're not a paramedic. You're not a doctor. You're not a nurse. If you are, I apologise. But you pull over because that's what good people do. You pull over and you give assistance, whatever assistance that can be. And if the car's on fire, you pull them out of the fire. If the car's all twisted and tangled, you don't move them. If they say their back hurts, etc., etc. But you're not an expert. And just like in this situation, that'll cost you a carton of beer to Beck. Just thought I'd let you know. In that regard, we are not experts. We are not trained counsellors or therapists, but we can help keep them safe. All we can do is listen and seek support. Just like the FedEx logo, once you have raised your antenna to the possibility that someone might be struggling, you will want to go through this checklist. What have I sensed? Have you sensed that someone is not themselves? That sense that they are hiding something that they are ashamed of, or they give you the sense of hopelessness? What you hear, you might pick up in their conversation something that doesn't quite sit right. I just want to be alone. Negative comments like, I'm hopeless. Actions, they might be unusually withdrawn or moody. Taking substances or undertaking risky behaviours like increasing alcohol and drug intake. Remember these 4 things, and observing them in someone should raise our antenna. But what to do? One of the most difficult things to do is ask someone if they are thinking of suicide. I know it doesn't sit well with us. It's too harsh, it's too in your face, it's too confrontational. But it's the question that we must ask. If you can't ask that question, if you struggle through that, can I make a suggestion? You find somebody that can. Find someone like me, loud and in your face. Stuart, I've seen Bob. Stuart, Bob is in trouble. I don't know what's going on, but this is what I've heard. This is what I've seen. This is what I know. Can we go and just see that Bob's okay? Stuart goes, yeah, you betcha. Bob, you thinking of suicide? I'll be in his face, because I'll tell you why. I'd much rather upset Bob with that comment and have Bob chew my head off for asking such a ridiculous comment. I'd so much prefer that than attending Bob's funeral. Have I got the message across? Have I got the message home? Please keep safe at all times. Consider your location, the circumstances, and your abilities to overcome possible situations. And by that I mean if someone is standing on a bridge preparing to jump and you haven't got the physical wherewithal to hold them back, stand back. You can talk to them all you like, but do not approach. Please avail yourself of suicide awareness and prevention programs. Go and do a course. Do it for yourself. Do it for your shed. Do it for your community group. Do it for yourself. Thank you all for listening. Appreciate your time. Oh, now, we've got question time. Are there any questions in the room? Well, I've got plenty of time to... Rihanna, is there anything online? I obviously hit the mark. You all know it all. Good on yous. Take care.